This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Oh my God!
Welcome, everybody, to the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast. This is episode 77. This is another jam-packed episode. We've got some news on Dean Ambrose. He's got a monster contract offer from a wrestling organization. We're going to get into that. Also, WrestleMania 37's location may have been released. Not really sure what's going on there. Also, former WWE superstars making an appearance. Not sure if it's a shoot, not sure if it's scripted. We're going to break that down in the news and notes. Of course, we've got Raw and Smackdown we're going to talk about, as well as a jam-packed WrestleMania recap. WrestleMania 35 took place this Sunday. Both the Doc and myself took it in, and we've got to break it down. Absolutely nuts. Overall, I think it was a thumbs-up show. We're going to talk about it. Way too long, though. I am the Jock. He is the Doc. Welcome to the program. The one, the only. He is the Doc, John Macaroon. What's up, cuz?
One and only.
DOC in the building. Oh, what a great week of wrestling. Oh, man, I got it all, cuz. Friday, I watched NXT. Saturday was the Hall of Fame. Sunday, WrestleMania. Monday, Raw. Tuesday, SmackDown. I watched a ton of wrestling.
47 hours of wrestling programming?
All consumed by the one and only DOC.
Cow.
Can't wait to break it down. First, we have to give props to NXT. We cannot do a podcast anymore and not show respect to a show. The performers that went out there, the 5 title matches that took place. And in reviewing NXT, all the takeovers, there really hasn't been a dud of a match.
There's
that
no
system,
duds. None.
There are no
They're
duds.
all great.
And you could even argue that more performers could even be on that show to make it a 3-hour show. Props to NXT for putting on TakeOver Brooklyn. It was by far one of the greatest shows I've seen in a long time. Just the opening entrance with the War Raiders got me hooked. Match after match got better. I finally got a chance to see Matt Riddle. The women put on a great show. And to see Adam Cole wrestle was unbelievable. Even though he didn't go over, it was nice to see the culmination of that angle with Johnny Gargano to actually win the belt. In terms of his struggle with Tommaso Ciampa, he didn't ever get over the hump, but unfortunately he got hurt. So Gargano gets the belt, and it's a good story. And all in all, NXT TakeOver was sick.
With everything that goes on with NXT, does it make you more hopeful for the day that Triple H, because I think we all assume Triple H is going to take over WWE, he's going to take over Raw, he's going to take over the production of SmackDown. Does it make you more hopeful for that day? Do you almost want to push old man Vince out?
I don't know if Vince's input is really bad. The problem is, at the WWE level, there's just probably way too many writers, and sometimes I think that there's not enough thought to given to what stuff actually means at certain times in shows. It's a big production, and we have to take into account it's a publicly traded company. There is a certain level that they want to stay at, and so they'll tread into it a little bit, but they won't go into it fully. And you got to remember, I don't think we can appreciate NXT as fully if WWE was all like that too.
Right.
NXT is distinct. They get time for matches. They only got 5 of them. It was usually 2 hours. Now it's 2.5. You got to remember, WWE is credited for NXT. So Vince has to write off on that. Vince has to sign off on that. NXT is obviously Triple H's baby. Could WWE perform at that level with 12 to 15-minute matches across the board all the way through? I don't know, but I do think that Vince's input is solid. There are moments that make you go, make you scratch your head, but they also make you pop. It was WrestleMania that was dominated by faces winning. Okay, Vince had to sign off on all that. He had to allow that to happen. And if there is no struggle, if there is no dissent, then you don't pop as hard for all the wins that we did get a chance to see on WrestleMania. So I go back and forth a little bit on Vince's input. Could it be better? Yes. I just think that they need one vision, and they need to kind of just remove the elements that the fans hate, like bait and switches, long-ass commercials during great matches, and things like that. And I think they're getting there slowly. They're not getting there fully, but they're getting there. I think the addition of Bruce Pritchard has helped out a lot. Now seeing the ability to actually react to what the fans are saying and doing is really great, but they're still making a couple mistakes here and there, which they're prone to do. So props to NXT. It was a great show. Real quickly, the Hall of Fame was amazing, but you cannot ever have a situation in which a wrestler is put in that position where he's going to be prone to get tackled. I love the ring. I love the entrances. I love the entire ambiance, but based on what happened, I think the fan ruined it. I think they'll go back to the stage because there's no chance of anybody bum rushing anybody at a stage. Or you could say, you know what? Just have security all the way along the ring so that there's no chance if somebody does hop the fence, he just gets popped right then and there. It was a bad look. They did quickly edit it out in the post replays and things like that, so you will not see it outside of videos.
You were right on that.
Yeah, I watched it because I wanted to see if it because I missed it live. I did not see it live that Saturday because I was watching the state game. And when it came out, I was like, bro, what the hell? And then the other news quickly was Enzo and Cass showed up at Ring of Honor.
Oh,
that was sick.
That's part of my news and notes.
Hey, it's good. That was sweet.
It's all part of it. Zip it. It's part of the news and notes.
Yes, sir. You'll talk more about that.
Don't go any more into it.
Yeah, you'll give detail if it was a work or a shoot or things like that because there was a lot of question marks about that. But now getting to WrestleMania, I agree with you. It was a great show. Way too long. But if you're a wrestling geek, Nick, you'll sit there from 5 to 12. You'll plan your day around it. There's a lot of ways. Actually, this WrestleMania allowed for great piss breaks if you took them at the right times during some of the women's matches, some matches maybe that you could have maybe not paid attention as much. So it didn't feel like a drag to me because I checked out of 3 matches. Really notably, I checked out. I didn't watch all that seriously. But yeah, a pay-per-view that starts technically at 7 and ends at 12:30 was really tough for the fans that were there. And the thing for me, though...
It makes for a very long day.
The way I want to start the recap is, it was great. It was definitely dominated by faces winning, and that's great. But I think that in the main event, it has to be better. If those girls walk through the curtain, I treat them like men, and Vince McMahon should tell them, you let me down. They had a lot of botches. It was a finish that maybe you would say was botched, or maybe wasn't botched, but it was not to the level of a WrestleMania main event that you were given. The entrance was great. The way they filmed it with Charlotte, the entrances were great. It was very awesome. But the wrestling, throughout the show, some of the wrestling did kind of fall short in terms of some botches and things like that. Obviously, when Batista stumbles into the ring and can't and looks all of 50 years old, it's a problem.
He was blown up real quick, too.
But in the end, the women got the spotlight. Did they earn it? To me, no. But in the end, it's great.
Wait, hold on. Did they earn it?
No.
Or
not to be the main event. Second, semi-main event.
Or are you just condemning them because it didn't live up?
No, I said going into the pay-per-view that it should have been Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston in the final match, or Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins taking the stage there to finish out the show.
Yeah, but Brock Lesnar-Seth Rollins match was garbage too.
Well, I don't know if it would have been last if it would have been played out that way. You can't have the finish be botched, and you can't have a match like that fails to live up to the hype.
All right, let's do this real quick. Let's get into the recap because there's a lot of talking points in everything you just said, and there's a bunch for us to kind of go off of, and this is already going to be jam-packed, and normally we try to keep these right around a half hour. This looks like it's going to maybe go 45 minutes-ish, maybe a little bit longer. So let's just jump right in. So we had the kickoff show. We had the Cruiserweight Championship. To both of our surprise, Tony Nese ends up beating Buddy Murphy.
Hometown guy, good for him.
I think this was a good call because Buddy Murphy, at this point, it seemed like nobody was going to ever beat Buddy Murphy. Instead, Tony Nese wins by pinfall. I'm fine with it. I thought it was good. I feel bad for the cruiserweights because they always get put on the kickoff show, and a lot of times their matches are almost better than anything you see on the real show. Carmella wins the Women's Battle Royal. I like this. This started off as any battle royal, but it kind of got fun towards the end. Sarah Logan thinks she wins the whole damn thing. Carmella, who was hanging out on the outside, crawls back in the ring, gives her all, hey girl, and next thing you know, they're scrapping. I thought this was solid. Again, hometown. This is something you don't ever really hear or see. Hometown girl gets the dub.
Good for her.
She's billed from Staten Island. She gets the win. Normally doesn't happen.
It was good to see Asuka get a little bit of a deep run in this Battle Royal. I thought it was incorrect to have Carmella win, and she could have been second, but I felt like the best wrestler in that ring was Asuka. But you give it to Carmella, and she's always worthy of a push. She does a great job. She's a great performer, but it just for me wasn't satisfactory.
She gets the basically the uterus trophy. Doesn't make any sense. I hate that trophy. It's what it is. All right, so Raw Tag Team Championship. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins.
My first pop of the night. It was awesome to see.
They defeat the Revival via pinfall. Now, this win snaps Kurt Hawkins' 0-269 streak. The guy lost 269 matches
What a
prior
reward.
to this.
That's the best way to do it. Look, if you had told Kurt Hawkins, look, you're going to lose a lot of matches for a year, they did reward him. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. I had a feeling as the match progressed by the way that on the WWE Hall of Fame, Harlem Heat called out Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins and said, hey, these are up-and-coming tag teams. And, the tag team wrestling division was highlighted throughout the entire Hall of Fame. And Bret Hart talked about it, the quality of tag team wrestling. And to know that Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins were put together, that they also were disciples of the Hart Foundation was really cool. So I like the fact that they took it down. And it just, I think, lends to a great rivalry with the Revival. I think the Revival got a lot of respect on the Hall of Fame show as well. Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, they got rewarded again, another moment, and which was good too because many people thought, well, how long are they going to hold the belt? In our Raw recap, we'll talk about it, but Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins are career guys. They're good guys, and they deserve the belt.
Speaking of the Revival, during the Hall of Fame show, Dash Wilder gets a mean haymaker in on the dude who attacks Bret Hart, completely knocks him out.
And then thumbs down to Seth Rollins and The Miz, who just stand there with their thumb up their ass. They didn't move. Dude, I think every wrestler in the front row should have been in there taking a shot.
Should have been up in there.
Yeah.
Braun Strowman wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Now, while this goes on, what are you booing about?
Because I gave you a win.
So, okay, fine, boo that. But you sent me a text message, and you're like, he looks absolutely ripped.
Dude, he got abs for days.
He looks so jacked.
He looked swole because he took his shirt off and he didn't have a singlet on. I was like, damn, he looks ripped.
Yeah,
He's putting time in the gym.
Looks amazing.
Cut up.
All right, let's go to the show. We open WrestleMania with Alexa Bliss introducing Hulk Hogan, who cuts his generic, listen here, brother, this is WrestleMania. It's what it is. Were you surprised Hulk Hogan was embraced the way he was embraced?
Dude, Hulk Hogan's a legend. Anytime you do that, and Alexa Bliss played it off perfectly, where she's like, oh, you guys want a moment? I can create a moment by snapping my fingers. She snaps her fingers, and boom, it's Hulk Hogan's music. Dude, I loved it. I was popping. I love whenever Hulk Hogan comes out. That's just what he needs to do, is to just come out, have his music play, and say, listen here, brother. But I think that's the last time we saw Alexa Bliss in the show.
Yeah.
She was the host of WrestleMania that got the best job of the night because she wasn't there for another couple hours.
Well, she comes back when the dudes from the Battle Royal, the SNL guys were
for
in
being
the
a
back
host,
room.
she
But
was
yes,
utilized.
you're right.
I thought the same way, but I will say this: Alexa Bliss is stunning. Like if they ever want to go back
she's
to
beautiful, right?
Yeah, having the women showcase their looks, she looks great in any dress she puts
beautiful.
on. So Hulk Hogan coming out was awesome, and then with the surprise of Paul Heyman coming down to the ring, kind of shocked everybody because I just thought it was going to be a promo.
Mm-hmm. So we jump right into it. Universal Championship match between Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar. That's your curtain jerk. This is how we're starting. This is where we're going. Now, my thoughts on this match. I thought this was a trash match.
Oh.
I thought it was horrible. I did not enjoy it. Brock Lesnar jumped Seth Rollins from the get.
Yeah.
In the end, Seth wins, which I think makes us all happy. But you can't overlook how bad this match really was.
Because it was just offense from Brock, then Seth gets his offense, and then the match is over.
Yeah. It's basically
no story.
Again, Seth Rollins resorting to a crotch shot and then 3 curb stomps.
And done.
Done.
Also, too, I'm a guy that says the Universal Heavyweight Championship is not a match that you have to start WrestleMania. Now, I get it. You want the crowd to pop, to be up, to start the show, but you can do that in a bunch of different ways. The heavyweight titles should not be first and in the middle of the card. I thought that the value of the way that WWE represents their belts was really crappy.
Yeah, it was.
As displayed on WrestleMania.
It really was.
But Seth Rollins wins, so that's fine. All good and dandy. His swirling the belt was a moment. I got excited when he does that. It just, the right guy has it, and everybody wanted Brock Lesnar to lose. Seth Rollins winning it was fine. Just, we wish we would have got a better match out of it.
This is an overall booking question for you. Now, I think we both disagree with going with a 7-8 hour long program. I think we both agree it's way too long. All right, but
should be 4.5 hours max. 5 at the absolute worst.
In and out. Let's go. But when you're booking a show, do you like it to kind of build build, 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 build. You have your moment, and then you kind of come down a little bit, and then you have another big moment? Or do you like kind of what WWE tried to do here, where you start off hot, and then you kind of go down a little bit, then you kind of come back with another moment, then you come down a little bit, and then you're hoping to hit that home run?
I like how the show played out throughout the show. I thought that the way they brought up people was fine. I just would have inserted different matches. You could have started that off with The Miz and Shane McMahon.
All right.
And then
Which was
unbelievably
nuts.
sick. Yeah, you start off with that, a big high spot.
Yeah.
A match that has a high spot, and then you go from there. Maybe you could have put it second. But for me, I'm always of the opinion the heavyweight title should be semi-main, third or first along the way. But
I tend to agree with you.
Yeah, the match order,
your championship belts need to be highlighted, need to be held up with prestige.
You know, if they're going to have legends like Triple H, he's got to. I mean, when they start doing the timing of the match, they got to cut 5 minutes out of his matches every year because he's getting way too much time at the expense of other people who deserve way more time. I mean, you look at it and you go Triple H, Batista go really long, and then it makes Baron Corbin, Kurt Angle go shorter. It makes Finn Balor go shorter. So I would say you could have started even off with Triple H, get the old timers out of the way, get all the fun stuff out of the way, and then you work up to a crescendo, which would have been Kofi, and then you could have brought it back down with a couple more matches, maybe Baron Corbin, then bring it back up with Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins winning the title would have kept the crowd hot into that main event, as opposed to them being wore out because they cheered for Kofi, and then they went silent for about 3 hours. It was literally 3 hours, because from the time Kofi won the belt to the women's main event.
It was weird.
You lost the crowd.
Yeah. It's a lot of... there's so much jam-packed into these shows that it's a lot of up and down, and the crowd gets hot, crowd fizzles, crowd gets hot, crowd fizzles. It becomes really rough when you're sitting in those stands.
You could even had John Cena return to start the show. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool. Next, we have AJ Styles defeating Randy Orton via pinfall. I think we both agree this was a solid match. This is probably the best and most engaged Randy Orton has looked in years.
But online, it went crazy because it was weird watching because people were chanting at odd times. Like it was like a body slam. 2 seconds would happen, then a big cheer would erupt, and you'd be like, what's going on? So I went to Twitter, and people started going, dude, what's up with this fucking light that's blaring in everybody's... I would be livid if I'm paying big money for WrestleMania with a big blaring light.
Randy Orton tweets an apology, breaks kayfabe for his character,
sorry.
And just tells the fans that, hey, WWE screwed up royally. Smackdown Tag Team Championship. The Usos end up defeating The Bar via pinfall. Ricochet and Aleister Black, as well as Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura, all this to retain the titles. I thought it was a pretty good match. Everybody seemed to kind of get their stuff in. It wasn't anything crazy. It was a solid match. The next match was Shane McMahon versus The Miz, and Shane McMahon gets the win via pinfall and a Falls Count Anywhere. You sent me a text message because I was watching it a little bit behind you. You sent me a text message. Holy shit, Shane just took the biggest bump ever. And I said, hold on, pause for a moment, because I'm watching this a little bit behind. I was playing catch up to get up to where you were at. I sent you a text message back that said, oh my God.
That was sweet. A superplex off of the heights of that tower was awesome. I loved it.
This was an awesome match.
But then you had the wrong guy win. You can't... The Miz should have went over. I thought that was a mistake. That was one mistake where the face did not win.
Look, I don't necessarily have a problem with it because I think there could be a more to this story. I don't have a problem with it. I thought it was a great match. And normally when Shane McMahon has a match, you can't say it's a great match. He usually has a high spot, and you're like, that was really cool. Oh my God, he might have died. In this, it was, oh my God, he might have died. This was a really good match. This was a really, really good match. This match probably stole the show. It was that damn good. We then have our Women's Tag Team Championship match, and I thought the Iconics were going to get a push. And when we did our predictions, I said, I really want to pick the Iconics, but I couldn't bring myself to pick the Iconics. Yeah. In the end, the Iconics defeat the Boston Hug Connection via pinfall, as well as Beth Phoenix and Natalya and Nia Jax and Tamina. It's their first title win. I didn't have a problem with this.
Yeah, that was one of the matches I checked out, and it didn't really do a whole heck of a lot for me. The Iconics winning, great. I think that it allowed for them to actually fulfill some potential. But for me, none of these women really hit home to me anything. Was the match good? I checked out. I mean, I was on, but I wasn't paying attention.
It wasn't bad. I thought it was a solid. It was a fatal 4-way match. It's what it was. Arguably, match of the night.
Oh, no doubt about it. Everybody was like, enthralled and curious as
This was
to
definitely the feel-good match.
was
of the
Kofi
evening.
going to win it, and the crowd was hyped. Everybody was anticipating it, and Daniel Bryan, give him credit. He sold everything, and they told a great story. It was a great match. It delivered, and after Kofi wins, the crowd pops. His kid is a legend. Gets up on the ropes, and as like a little 8-year-old, knows what he's doing already, and that probably was the moment for me that made WrestleMania, was this kid that just got up on the ropes, and that's what we watch wrestling for. Kofi Kingston winning it after 11 years. It's well-deserved. I didn't think it ever happened. I didn't think it happened at least at WrestleMania. He got his moment. I probably, if I was writing it, I would have written it probably where he celebrates, and then Big E goes down and does the job, and you kick off the next feud right then and there. High, low, right then and there. But let the fellas celebrate. It's great, but I just think that Kofi now can separate himself from the New Day. He's bigger than them. So it's great. He showed proper respect because they told the story now that Big E and Xavier were in the New Day. Xavier started it with the idea. They went to Kofi and they brought him on, and it was a great story. They told it all the way along as to how this got there, and great for them. They've had a great 5-year run as a New Day, but sometimes the guy that's the lead has to step away. The Heartbreak Kid stepped away from the Rockers. Hitman Hart went away.
Oh, so you're calling for somebody to get thrown through a barbershop window.
I think the next feud's got to be Kofi versus, I think it should have been, because we all thought it was going to be Big E, it should have been Xavier. I built this and now I want my chance. It's been, slow, but I don't know if I think they're riding the wave of positivity. I think the swerve would have been to have Xavier turn on Kofi because Xavier brought Kofi into the group.
Yeah, if you go back, I think to last year,
you can elevate
we were
Xavier
talking
too.
about how Big E was going to get a monster push.
Big E's good. He's over. People like him. I think Xavier's got some talent that you can a series maybe down the road with. Xavier can get some rub off of Kofi.
That's interesting. I don't know if I would have done it that way.
Maybe,
but it's interesting. That is different booking for sure. Next, we have Alexa Bliss make her return, and basically the NWO.
That was great.
You have Scott Hall and you have Kevin Nash playing doctors, and they're ready to give that inspection. And when I say that inspection, I mean the whole glove pull and the finger wiggle. It's the Weekend Update, guys. I thought that was kind of cool. It was nice
Good
to
comic
see
relief.
Razor Ramon
Yes.
and Diesel, if you want, in the back.
Always good to have
cool.
some comic relief.
And then we have probably the shortest match of the night.
Wow.
The United States Championship match. Samoa Joe defeats Rey Mysterio via submission in 3 minutes.
I'll ask you this because this is the debate. Was it good for Samoa Joe to be viewed as a destroyer? Now, this happened. This wasn't because of timing. This didn't happen because they view Rey Mysterio as a bad guy or anything. He was hurt, and I think they allowed Samoa Joe to be viewed as a killer.
Yeah.
But at the same time, does it hurt Rey Mysterio coming back and having a 4-second match?
I don't know if it hurts Rey Mysterio. I think what it does is it builds Joe.
I think it crushes Rey Mysterio. I would have probably, if you're him, just don't have the match.
I don't know. Look,
Samoa Joe could have did it behind the scenes, maybe as he's approaching on the ramp, and just have like a false finish because to go in the ring and then get destroyed makes you look soft and a punk.
but what does that do for Joe? So here's the thing:
I'm a killer. Don't mess with me.
When you
don't even ask to get in a match with me.
When you have guys like Rey Mysterio who come back, who are there basically, this is the whole reason I ended up picking Baron Corbin to beat Kurt Angle. When you're an older guy, you have one job.
Put
It's
over
to
the young
put over
talent.
the young talent.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe is not necessarily a young talent, but he's younger than Rey Mysterio. He is that next, WWE looks at him as that next crop of guys. So he has one job to go do. He fulfills his job. He gets crushed, puts over Samoa Joe, show moves on. I didn't necessarily have a problem with it. I don't think Rey Mysterio is dead in the water. Crowd's gonna pop for him every time he comes out because he's freaking Rey
He's
Mysterio.
a legend.
So it's what it was. Roman Reigns defeats Drew McIntyre via pinfall. This match seemed very sluggish to me. It didn't ever seem, with both these guys being as good as they are, it felt a little bit disjointed and a little disconnected.
The crowd did not care. I was surprised when Roman came out. The crowd didn't really boo. They didn't really care. The entrance for Drew McIntyre was the best part of this match.
It was.
Obviously, nobody was surprised that Roman Reigns went over. So it was a match that unfortunately, I think, succumbed to the fact that Kofi got a big, huge pop and the crowd kind of settled in. And unfortunately, that match got sacrificed. It didn't deliver to the expectations that I or the WWE universe had.
A moment that got me up out of my seat and got me standing at attention.
Oh, you mean this moment right here?
so pumped right now.
So, I think you're right.
Word life. This is basic Thuganomics. This is basic Thuganomics. Word life. There is a doctor in the house. This is basic.
The
Okay.
doctor of Thuganomics,
Okay,
baby.
now
I'm so pumped. Like, I'm pumped right now. I want to give you an attitude adjustment through this table.
I knew you'd like that. Okay, now here's the part that's funny for me being a mark. Okay, I came back to wrestling after this, so when this come out, when Thuganomics came on the big screen, I'm like, what the hell's this? So
I was so jacked. I
saw
looked
John
at
Cena.
my wife, and I was like, you're going to get an attitude adjustment right now. And she was like, what? I was like, I gave her an attitude, I think it was 2 years ago. I gave her an attitude adjustment when John Cena came out. I gave it to her on my buddy's couch. And I was like, you remember what I did to you at Crane's house? You're going to get it again.
So I obviously knew, okay, this was the old gimmick of John Cena. I didn't know he came out to this music.
Yeah.
That was his entrance music.
Dude, I popped so hard.
Everybody did. Everybody was like, oh, it was perfectly done.
It was
Once
great.
you realized what was happening and seeing that they brought back an old John Cena gimmick with Elias, perfect WrestleMania moment, perfect timing. The crowd popped. It brought everybody to life. And then, not just the entrance, the surprise. Dude brought his game, his A game, and he brought, you look like my nuts was unbelievable. I was dying, but with much more hair on your bush.
He had some of the best one-liners. He annihilated
Double
Elias.
entendres for days,
Yes.
and it was a great segment. If John Cena wasn't going to wrestle Kurt Angle, this was perfect.
This was
A
awesome.
plus.
Yes.
All credit and raises to those that produced that segment.
It was absolutely perfect.
Thug life.
I love John Cena.
Word life.
I was so excited when I sent out a tweet. I misspelled doctor. I was so pumped. It didn't even matter to me. I love this moment. This was great for me. Triple H defeats Batista via pinfall in a no holds barred match that had Ric Flair get in the mix. He ends up sliding Triple H as the match kind of goes on. He slides Triple H another sledgehammer just as Batista was coming in to use the original sledgehammer on Triple H. This match was slow. It was plodding. I don't know. It
Went on too long. The moment was him
was-
ripping out the nose ring. Fine,
Yeah.
but when you start the match with Batista stumbling into the ring, it just didn't need to happen.
It was like a C- match.
yeah, it could have been cut.
It could have really could have.
Didn't need to happen.
Baron Corbin defeats Kurt Angle via pinfall in the farewell match. Now,
It's fine.
this was a match where I look. You can say what you want to say. I think the right guy won.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think the right guy won because Kurt Angle has an old school mentality and he's very, very giving, right? He's trying to put over the next guy.
It was
Kurt
good.
Angle realizes where he's going. He's
good.
trying to put over the next guy and help elevate Baron Corbin.
And that's fine. And I like that he got up on the top rope, missed his spot, and then loses the match. I think it was all well done. He had energy. They protected. Baron Corbin protected Kurt Angle. He didn't look as bad as he has in recent matches. And
true.
Good for Kurt Angle to have his moment. The ramp was awesome to see. Everyone cheering Kurt Angle during his entrance. That screen was awesome for all. I'm going to rewatch.
You had a total boner for the screen. We had some pyro too.
Oh, it was awesome. I don't rewatch too many WrestleManias, but I will for just the entrances. They were so good. Thuganomics. The screen was. I just one day want to have my name on a screen like that. That was.
You sent me
awesome.
like 4 messages referencing the screen.
I loved it. I loved the entire setup. I'm like, that's how WrestleMania should be: massive screen, massive technology, and great long ramps. It was great.
It was awesome.
The most disappointing thing for me was, because of the fact Triple H went long, Finn Balor went short.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it would have been better, again, had they not referenced that he was going to be the demon.
Yes.
It was
If it was
anticlimactic.
If it was a surprise, it'd have been better.
It would have been better, but it was a short match, and he wins the title.
Yep.
Kudos to Finn Balor.
Finn Balor beats Bobby Lashley. I thought Finn Balor might have died at one point where he gets tackled through the ropes by Bobby Lashley and lands on the outside. I thought for sure he was dead. Bounces back up, ends up winning with the coup de grace.
There was one moment for me
pin.
earlier where Kofi jumps. It was when he jumped towards Daniel Bryan and he missed and hit the table. I thought for sure he had cracked ribs.
Oh, Mustafa Ali too during the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial. He ends up smacking his face off
People were
the
scared.
announcer's
Yeah,
desk.
people were scared there.
So
Yeah,
absolutely crazy. They might want to consider next year maybe
Little safer,
moving those announce desks a little bit further back. Next, we get the main event, the winner take all. Raw,
around
and SmackDown, Women's
like
Championship.
11:50, like 12 o'clock.
Way too long.
Yeah.
It's way too long. At this point, I was holding on for dear life.
There was a 60% chance I was going to fall asleep. I was battling, man, because
Dude, I nodded out during part of that Kurt Angle match.
Yeah.
I woke myself up snoring.
Yeah.
And I looked over at the wife, and she was kind of zonked out.
Yeah, I was like, man, I can't believe that this is the first year I can't even make it through an entire WrestleMania. It was that long. But the match was okay. Like I said, and you can give me your thoughts on it. I just was left disappointed.
No.
The finish was disappointing. I was not happy with it. Great, Becky won, but the hype, unfortunately, makes it so that you have to rate this a little bit more critically. So they did not deliver. So they were not worthy of being in the main event. They did not have the best spots. They did not do what they were intended to do. And I would have been livid if I'm the bosses.
Here's the thing. Becky Lynch on her own, outstanding.
Yep.
Ronda Rousey, I think she has come a long way, and I think at certain points she has very, very good matches. Charlotte, one of the best in the business, right? This match, overall, if we're going to be critical, it fell short.
Yeah.
It fell short. I don't think it necessarily lived up to the billing of the main event. All that being said, there are some WrestleManias where the main event does not steal the show and is not the best match on the card. This was one of those. For all the hype, for everything that got put into it, this match did not live up to the hype.
No, it did not.
All that being said, I don't think it was horrible. I don't think it was the worst match on the card. I think it was probably in the top 5, top 7 on a very stacked card. I think what hurt this was the build, was the expectation, was everything that went into it, because when we look back on it, we'll be like, yeah, that was a pretty good match. If this match was slotted, I don't know, number 2, you'd be like, yeah, that was good. That was good. If there wasn't all this hype, if there wasn't all this kerfuffle about it being the first woman's ever main event, which honestly, in wrestling, it's not the first woman's ever main event.
Right.
It's just, for WWE, this was a big deal. It would have just been like, all right, cool. And this would have been a good match. And that was the thing. This was a good match. It wasn't a great match.
Yep.
Becky Lynch winning.
And it went so long, there was no video package. It's just match ends, Becky celebrates, fireworks end.
Well, here's the thing. And we're gonna discuss this when we get to the news and notes. There was a small situation that took place in the middle of the match that kind of led to the ending being expedited. Because this, I think, was scheduled to go a little bit longer. The outcome didn't change, but they accelerated part of the match. And I think that's what led to Ronda Rousey being very, very upset with the ending of this match. And it coming off as though it was botched. And we'll discuss that later. All that being said,
good WrestleMania.
I thought it was a good WrestleMania.
It was a good culmination to the year. And I think that for me, the one disappointing thing is that AJ Styles really should be further up a card than second in anything. That's my one big takeaway. The rest of it was done well. All the faces won. WWE gave everybody what they wanted. The one thing, though, that can always be improved is the actual wrestling. Better spots, more crisp, actually showcase, a little bit more of your skills. More of the pomp and circumstance won this go around. The faces won, no problem. But I also like to see quality, high-class wrestling like I saw in AJ Styles versus Randy Orton, like I saw in Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. It just wasn't a lot all the way through because there was a lot of lulls and a lot of bad matches.
Now, I understand WWE wants to get all their belts on. They want to give everybody an opportunity. They want to get everybody on the show.
2 less matches would have been fine.
Yeah, you don't have to put everybody on a show.
2 less matches, yeah.
You don't. It's WrestleMania. Your best of the best need to be highlighted.
Yep.
Everybody else can go into your battle royals.
Now we go to an anticipated show. 2 anticipated shows that everybody loves to see.
Oh, wait, hold up. We've got some business to attend to here.
Oh,
we've got to go through the calling the card real quick.
Oh, you whooped my ass. We made note of that.
Crushed you.
You destroyed.
Crushed you.
You did pretty good. 9 out of 15, huh?
Yeah, not too bad. You went 6 of 15.
I went more along the line of being even here, but I didn't know it was going to be an all-face WrestleMania. That's the way it was. You win. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. So I take a 10 to 8.5 lead. Now let's move on to what should be
excitement,
the
fun,
best Raw.
crazy letdown. One word.
It was a total letdown.
And here's the thing: started off good. It started off with potential. It started off with the right person getting celebrated in Seth Rollins. I thought, okay, good. Okay, if you don't start with Becky Lynch, I was going to be happy. Seth Rollins deserved it, and I thought, okay, you're starting off well. The crowd was hot. They were into it, and the show progressed pretty well. You had a major debut.
With the whole Seth Rollins thing. So Seth Rollins comes out, cuts his promo. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
Crowd was hot. It was cool. It was his time in the spotlight, deserved. All right? You have Kofi Kingston come out. This made me scratch my head because I'm like, where are we going with this?
I thought this was great. I'm like, whoa, you're reading my mind. I thought that would have been a great exhibition match, not title for title.
Yeah. I was like, where are we going with this? Please don't do this. Let's not do this. Don't do this.
Because in the end, everybody and their mama, if you had a brain, knew that nobody was going to win that match because you're not going to take heat off of Seth Rollins. You're not going to ruin a celebration for Kofi Kingston. So everybody knew they could have went down this road. No problem to have a false finish. The way they executed it at the end, and we'll talk about it, the worst of the options.
Dude, I was talking to my mom, and I was like, I hate when they do this.
They did stupid
This makes no sense. Why are you going to have a face versus a face?
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Yes, I was talking to my mother about wrestling, and she's just kind of looking at me. She's like, I don't understand why they're doing this either.
Yeah. Exactly.
It made no sense.
But Raw progressed, really well. Sami Zayn returns. You had the debut of Lars Sullivan. You had Lacey Evans finally putting on a move on somebody with a great punch. Yeah, it was great all the way through. You ruined Raw because the crowd was hyped. They were excited. You now have the main event, and when you have the Bar come out as being the guys that were going to interfere.
We didn't even talk about the Undertaker show.
The Undertaker was there,
which I think was confusing, but this sets up for what's going to take place in Saudi Arabia later on.
It's fine.
It's what it was.
It was fine, but when you have this bait and switch, and it's the Bar that shows up in the ring, not anybody from NXT, you only had one real debut from NXT, and that was Lars Sullivan. A lot of people were disappointed with that, and you realize, man, they did it the worst way, and then everybody knew right away it was going to be a match. And so then the crowd was like, oh, you're going to do that? So fine, we're going to go apeshit. We're going to start chanting for AEW. We're going to start chanting Be Elite. We're going to start chanting for the Beach Ball. And you crapped all over the success that you had in the last two nights by doing this one particular move. All you had to do was have Adam Cole come out. You didn't even have to come in and interfere. Just have him come out and do a promo and just stop the match. You don't have to give a reason. You could have had anybody from NXT come out. It would have been better than the Bar.
When you build your entire 3-hour program around a unification match between the guy who just dethroned the Beast.
Everybody knows what's going to happen.
Right. And the guy who is the hottest thing in wrestling right now to only have the Bar come out.
Because here's the biggest mistake.
You just threw it all away.
When they went to commercial, they ran a commercial for the celebration for Kofi on SmackDown. Yeah. And then you had to have...
You crushed your own booking.
Yeah, exactly.
It was lazy. And
you had to come back from commercial and explain, oh, well, that's granted if he does advance to this, if he wins this match.
You did a disservice to your fans.
It's terrible.
You did a disservice
Was the crowd right to do that?
WWE Universe.
Was the crowd right to shit all over it?
Yeah. Absolutely. Look, this is the one thing, right? This is the one thing about WWE. Sometimes they do listen to their fans.
Yeah.
And point made, right?
WrestleMania was great.
Kofi Kingston
is the champ,
right? Becky Lynch is the champ. There's a reason that they are the champs because WWE listened to the fan base. WWE heard everybody with the AEW chants and the B Elite chants. They know what that is. They know exactly what that is. That's why Triple H told Billy Gunn, that little pissant company of yours, Vince will buy it just to fire you again. Oh, no. WWE is very well aware of what is going on.
They know what's going on.
Yes.
Shawn Michaels made a You're All In reference, so they made references, which is interesting.
The guys who are at the very, very top know what the hell is going on. They know what the fans want.
And they couldn't have not wanted to hear that.
Right. This right here, this was great. WWE fans, let them know that they did a shit job on the Raw after WrestleMania, which is usually
it ruined the show.
Usually the best Raw of the year.
It ruined the show, and it was not the best. It was probably one of the worst in the last 5 years. Raw after WrestleMania.
Yes.
Let's get to SmackDown. I was so pissed.
All right, let's go SmackDown. I thought SmackDown was decent.
It was a very good show, entertaining.
Here's the thing: where Raw had a ton of potential and a ton of I want to say high moments, and then just totally shit the bed. I think SmackDown maybe not as high with the moments,
expectations,
but
consistently well.
Yes, exactly. And that's the one thing I think we've said about SmackDown over the recent months is sometimes it doesn't hit the highest of highs, but you know what? It is consistently
have bad
good.
moments, yeah.
Exactly. You know what? This is something like I tell the ladies, right? I don't have the biggest wiener.
Mm-hmm.
I'm generally one of the smallest wieners. All right? But I am consistent, and I bring some other stuff.
Bring other skills to the
And
table.
you know what? I will usually end up in your top 3.
There you
if
go.
not your number 1.
There you go.
And it's just because I'm consistent.
Consistent. That's what we're
right.
talking about. Couple notes.
I like how you're smiling. You have that wry smile. Look at you.
Couple notes. Was it a good idea to put the tag belts on the Hardys? I thought that was a surprise.
It was a surprise. And I don't necessarily have a problem with it if it's going to go someplace. I don't ever like having belts change just to change. Like, oh, we just need to be different. I don't ever like that to happen. If they're going to go in a direction where something is going to happen and this is going to lead to another story, I'm cool with it. We have to remember everything that's kind of taking place. We have the Superstar Shakeup coming next week, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. We have the Superstar Shakeup coming in the next coming up next week. I could see the Usos getting moved around. This is one of the things that I think
it's
will
best
happen
for them. Yes.
So I think by keeping the belts on the Hardys,
Usos
and taking
revival.
do you know what I'm saying?
Oh snap!
So I think there was a reason that the belts were taken off the Usos.
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
do think it was a good idea.
Yep.
I'm concerned as to what's going to happen with Kevin Owens.
What's he, a face, a heel? It's kind of confusing.
It is very confusing. I did like the usage of him using a stunner. I
Yeah.
thought that was cool.
Yep.
I just don't know what he is, and I don't know what his program is.
Do you think the next feud for Mustafa Ali should be Randy Orton?
I like that.
You did? Okay.
I do like this. And let me tell you why. Because Mustafa Ali is as hardcore face as you can get, while Randy Orton can be the hardcorest heel you get, right? On top of it, it seemed like they had a little bit of a feud going and a little bit of a program, and then WWE all of a sudden put it on hold. They're like, all right, we're going to go in this direction with AJ Styles and Randy Orton, and then maybe we'll come back. So I think they're coming back to this, and I think this gives Mustafa Ali a chance to really get himself over. Randy Orton can be one of the hottest heels in all of WWE when he wants to be, when he's engaged. Will he be engaged with Mustafa Ali? I don't know. But I think this could be a really good story.
So overall, for me, once Undertaker came, I said, "Okay, Raw wins. That was good."
You
Then
did.
They fucked up the main event. I'm like,
Moments later, like a half hour later, you're like,
never
nope,
mind.
never mind.
They fucked up again.
Yeah.
So SmackDown gets the win.
SmackDown, again, just rolls out 51 to 27 and a half and a no credit, which always makes me laugh.
And if we probably can agree, Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan, rewatch that if you have 10
Yes,
minutes.
absolutely.
If you have several minutes, watch Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan. It was the match of the week.
It was absolutely awesome.
Hit me with this week's professional wrestling news and notes.
Wait, before we do that, Superstar Shakeup.
Oh.
Real quick, what do you want to see happen?
AJ Styles on Raw, Usos on Raw. I want to see Drew McIntyre on SmackDown. I just want to see a massive surprise. Somebody that we don't think, maybe a debut of somebody from NXT, maybe Adam Cole show up on SmackDown.
I like all of that. I like all of it. I think what you're going to get is you're going to see the tag team divisions get strengthened. Both.
Yeah.
I think we both agree SmackDown has the better tag team division. I think Raw is going to get bolstered. So you're going to see some tag teams switching brands. I don't have a problem with AJ Styles going to Raw. I think that's a great call. I think it really is a great call.
Let Drew McIntyre switch brands and destroy that whole SmackDown roster.
Don't be surprised that's your 1-to-1. Those are your
That'd be fair.
top end guys.
Perfect.
Flip flopping. I like where your head's at. All right, this week news and notes. You mentioned it to open the show, right? Enzo and Cash showed up at ROH's G1 Supercard.
Whoa!
And it sent Twitter into a freaking tizzy. Everybody was like, what the hell is going on here? Initially, everybody thought it was a shoot, and it seemed like a shoot. It was portrayed as a shoot. The way they filmed it, the way they showed it, it was a total shoot. Only to have ROH and totally come and undo everything that they had planned and everything that they had did. Now, it was hotly debated whether or not to even have them show up and do it this way. All right? But the heads of ROH said, no, we want this, and they overrode the booking committee.
Made news, yep.
For ROH, and what undid all of this, because everybody was like, this is a total shoot. Hours later, ROH retweeted some videos, Enzo and Cass.
Yep.
So it was a total angle, was not a shoot.
Yep, total work.
But the realest guys in the room, if you're a fan, are now part of ROH. So tune into ROH. Check that out. So Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 35, she broke her hand. This is what we were talking about earlier, in the episode where there was something that took place in the show towards the end of that match that kind of had to expedite things. She broke her hand. She broke her right hand during the match. She broke it punching Becky Lynch in the face.
Yeah.
Which Becky Lynch at this point has to have one of the strongest jaws.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Way to go, Ronda.
So breaks her hand in the match. It's expected she's going to be out for at least 8 weeks if she's not already taking time off to go start her family. This led to a little bit of a change with the botch finish. All right. According to Dave Meltzer, the planned ending was for Lynch to roll Rousey up and get the win. But her shoulders coming up at the end, that was unplanned. So the original plan was for
To actually lay down on the mat with your shoulders down?
Yeah, was for her to really be pinned by the roll-up, but WWE called a quick audible. Rousey was unaware or just not informed. She is pissed off at the way that ended because she feels like it made her look weak. I don't necessarily think it made her look weak. I thought it was a bad finish, and it was just another botch in a match that was kind of all over the place. AJ Styles also injured at his WrestleMania 35 match. It's unclear what the injury is. Reports are after WrestleMania, he was seen at the airport moving very, very slowly. So we're going to see. I don't know what the timetable is there. After his loss to Triple H, Batista announced his retirement on Twitter.
Oh, 50-year-old Batista is officially done with sports entertainment.
All done.
Good for you.
Batista went on to tweet at WWE Universe, "Thank you for letting me entertain you. I love this business, and whether you cheered for me or jeered for me, I'm grateful for being a small part of your life. I'm officially retired from sports entertainment, and I'm grateful for every second of the amazing journey." So that was kind of nice. I thought that was cool that he went ahead and did that. But I think there was a hard dose of reality.
Yeah.
With,
dude ain't got it.
with what happened at that match.
Yeah, dude ain't got it. Is the best way to put it.
You sent me a message, I think, roughly 3 minutes into it. You're like, I think he's blowing up already.
Yeah,
he was
dude ain't got
gasping
it.
for air.
Yeah.
Backstage interviewer Dasha Fuentes has been released by WWE.
I never knew who she was. I can't recall an interview.
She was the Dasha bot. She was horrible. She wasn't very good. She was good to look at, but she wasn't very good at her job.
Didn't know who she was. Don't remember who she is, and no memorable moments. See you later.
WrestleMania 37's location. We just finished up WrestleMania 35. WrestleMania 36 is taking place in Tampa Bay. They have this whole pirate theme going on, so don't be surprised if Kairi Sane gets a big little push for next year. WrestleMania 37, though, the location may have been released. The Los Angeles Times is reporting that the new football stadium currently being built in Inglewood, called the Los Angeles Stadium and Entertainment District at Hollywood Park. That's a name in and of itself. I struggle even to say it. It's said to be the front runner for all of this. So that's interesting. We'll see what happens.
The vernaculars can be called LASED. LASED. Los Angeles Stadium Entertainment District.
I like that.
The HP part. Laced HP.
There you All right. So there's a report out there. This is going to Dean Ambrose now.
Oh. Whoa.
So a report
These
on
numbers.
Yeah. A report on Dean Ambrose. Sounds like he's going to take a 6-month break from WWE.
Rest of the year.
At the same time, AEW has made him an offer for an incredible contract.
How much?
Up to $6 million per year. That's more
and guarantees?
Yes, that's more than Roman Reigns, more than Seth Rollins.
I think that would probably make me want to leave, as opposed to hearing some big black man call out and say he wants to service my wife.
Right.
Which I think was probably not the best thing to have happen.
It was a horrible angle. It was not good. And the whole thing was just brutal. On top of that, this $6 million contract has less dates. So Dean has a little bit of a decision to make over the next 6 months.
Oh, he's going to make the decision. It's pretty easy. He'll be on AEW.
You think?
Yeah, I think anybody in his right mind, take 5 months off, get back in September, maybe right around the time of a show in Chicago or something along those lines, and show up there. $6 million. His name will be signed very shortly.
We'll see what happens.
No doubt about it. If that's the number, he'd be stupid not to sign it.
You're absolutely right. That's a lot of money
because he's going to be pushed. He'll be the guy.
It's not going to be like WWE where he's just, I don't know. Like, honestly, in the Shield, he's the 3rd best guy. On WWE, maybe the 10th best guy. You know what I'm saying? You're going to go to AEW, you're going to be a star. You're going to be a star, and you're going to have to work less. Probably do less. $6 million is a lot more money.
Great podcast. We got it in under an hour, a little bit longer, a little bit bloated, but hey, just like WrestleMania when Doc and Jock go fat, it's all good. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate everybody for being part of the network and following and supporting us. Definitely give support to those who support us. Follow Dennis Farrell on Twitter at Dennis77Farrell. His Wrestling Perspective podcast is amazing with P.D. Williams. He'll have great recaps as well. We share content, and Dennis is a good friend and a great mentor to the network, the advocate of the DOC. For the Jock, Adam Strozinski, I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Superstar Shakeup next week. You know you're going to want to tune in here to get our reaction on the next edition of the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast.